A coach believes in someone when they don't believe in themselves. Try to make sure that our passion, our curiosity matches the effectiveness of what we can operate within this new model, and we'll figure it out. And the problems we have now is the unintended consequence of one kid going from 3 different high schools. One kid trying to figure out where the best, quote, deal is instead of looking at the grind.
Hey everybody, my name is Pat Cohan, and I'm excited to bring you a special episode of the THSADA Director's Cut. In this episode, we're gonna feature the University of Texas Athletic Director, Chris Del Conte. In our conversation, we dive into how the changes in college sports are going to affect high school sports in the future, what he learned from the changes that college sports went through during the Title IX era, and how that translates to the NIL and transfer portal era we're seeing today. Now, our partner for this episode is Danley Sound Labs, a proud sponsor of the THSADA and a visionary in the audio industry, delivering state-of-the-art loudspeakers, subwoofers, and innovative sound solutions to sports venues worldwide. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy this THSADA Director's Cut. With the amount of change that you've had to deal with as an athlete who had the program cut at Oregon State because of Title IX, and then all the ups and downs of your athletic director career, what have you learned about change and how to lead through it?
Well, let's talk about Title IX for a moment. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to college athletics. Opportunity for women to participate in college athletics. I couldn't imagine not having women athletics on any campus. And during those turbulent times of change, people were looking, how do we operate that? And one of the unintended consequences, a lot of men's sports were dropped during that time to add women's sports. And it was partly just because of the finances that were derived at that time. Yet, one of the things that came about that was parity in football. We had unlimited scholarships to 150, then went down to 110, then 95 and 85. That created parity around the country. And because that parity had the rise in perfect time of ESPN, the rise of television, it created so much revenue within the departments that you could run a full, well-balanced athletic program for all sports. What you're looking at today is similar in that you're going through massive change, and how are we going to operate in this massive change while keeping a well-balanced athletic program that matches our interests as an institution. So adapt or die. We will adapt and we'll be ready.
Yeah, there really isn't an answer with how to do it. It's just keep trying.
Oh, without question. I think the difference is that we know it's evolving. You know it's going to continue to change. And what you have to do is try to make sure that our passion, our curiosity matches the effectiveness of what we can operate within this new model, and we'll figure it out. I mean, there's a lot of people, it's like when they first came up with Title IX, oh, it's going to be the death of sport. It's done nothing but enhance it. This new opportunity that we're engaged in now will enhance what we do, but as we just talked about this in this panel, is we got to figure out guardrails to make sure that we're giving our student athletes and coaches all the tools they necessary to live out their dreams, whatever that dream may be.
How do you think the changes we're seeing at the college level are going to affect high school sports as we know it?
You know, it's hard to say because I think Texas High School Coaches Association, the UIL, what makes this state great is that you have such great administrators and such great coaches that foster community. And one of the things I don't want to lose in our high schools is this idea that we foster a community that you grew up in, you live in, and this is the community. When you involve NIL, as Mr. Hartford, the AD from SMU, was talking about in the panel, in high school, it's going to create similar problems we have now. And the problems we have now is the unintended consequence of one kid going from 3 different high schools. One kid trying to figure out where the best, quote, deal is instead of looking at the grind. Part of being a young athlete is your body matures. You start to deal with failure. You start to figure out grinding through adversity to the benefit of yourself and your team. And what's happened now is people are bouncing from place to place looking for the quick deal. And that's not what our country's founded on. Our country's founded on this idea that, man, let me tell you, you work your tail off and you persevere, great things will happen. But if you're always looking for the quick fix, you get a quick fix.
You don't actually learn anything.
You learn nothing.
You use the term inflated market. Can you explain what might happen once the dust kind of settles?
That's to be seen. I think what we're looking at now in this era is, as I mentioned earlier, what's happened today is pales in comparison to what happened in our state in the 80s. And that's where we have to put not the toothpaste back in the bottle, but offer true NIL. I think the idea was, can I monetize my true NIL value? And the NFL, the Major League Baseball, the NBA, they all have NIL values outside of a contract. And you look at what does that look like? What is the value of someone? We had a running back, Bijan, who came up with Bijan Mustard. And he was able to accentuate who he is and was because of his true name, image, likeness. So that's exciting for him. And that's the opportunities you're looking for.
What can a high school athletic director or district athletic director do to position their school or district to thrive in the new athletic landscape?
I'm not too sure if it's trickle-down effect yet, because the state laws have not allowed that. So it'll depend on what happens this legislative session. If they decide to say, here's what the new landscape looks like for high school kids. It's one thing to be a professional athlete. It's one to receive a scholarship at the University of Texas and what those benefits are. In high school, it has not had a trickle-down effect. I could just imagine AAU. You have kids bouncing from an AAU team every single summer, and nothing's wrong with that, but are they bounding because they're not getting playing time? Are they bounding because someone said, hey, here's a better opportunity, or whatever? But at the same time, is there a grind to the process? And I think the question asked in the panel a minute ago, we're living in a me society. And that's a quick change from ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's just 50 short years ago. And now it's ask what I can do for myself and what your country can do for me. It's just different. And we got to adapt to that.
How can a parent evaluate the opportunities for their kid with so much clutter on NIL value, scholarships, clubs, travel ball, and everything else that goes on in youth sports today?
Tricky question, because how a parent should evaluate their kids. I think I grew up in the era where you weren't good enough, you were cut. We're living in the area where everyone doesn't get cut. Everyone gets a blue ribbon. Everyone gets a participation medal. That's not the era I came up with. If you got cut, you had to go home, lick your wounds, work on your craft, try and try again to make a team. And what we're doing today is offering everybody this opportunity, yet what are we teaching young people? And for parents, I'm looking at, guys, I get it. We all want little Johnny and little Susie to just have a participation, but sport was what you went into to improve your craft, but to make a team. And if you didn't make a team, you went back and you worked your tail off to make it the next year. And I always tell my children, hey, if you do it, let's go 100%, but I'm not going to get involved with that program. It's yours to own and yours to grind through. I'm here to help you, but you got to it's like getting a job. Once you get a job, you got to grind your tail off to get a promotion. But all of a sudden, no, everyone's going to get a job, period. And all of a sudden, elevation doesn't happen. We're just in the participation. And that's babies, boomers, kids. There's a significant amount of wealth in families today, and they're trying to give their kids every opportunity that they didn't have. But along the way, they're missing the work ethic, the grind, the maturation that we all went through. I worry about that.
So how do you balance the high standards that everybody holds the University of Texas to, while also encouraging your staff to experiment and not be afraid of failing?
Well, I think even when you're an elite athlete, you're constantly tweaking. You're trying to get better. You look at Tiger Woods, he constantly messed with his swing for perfection. Those little imperfections create perfection. But you can't be afraid. If you're really going to try to get to the highest level, you got to constantly tweak whatever you have to get better. Kobe Bryant constantly worked in the gym to improve his craft. No one's better than Michael Jordan. And what he did to improve his craft, well, Same with athletics. You got to this place because you have a great base. If you want to attain a higher level, you got to constantly improve your craft, and it may be tweaking it. For us, the same thing. We know who we are at the university, but we just can't be here and say, hey, like the Fonz, hey, we're here. No, you got to walk in and say, we're here. Our expectation is here. And what do we do to get to here? And along the way, you got to try everything. And when they make a mistake, I tell everyone, I'll take the blame for that because you're trying. Let's not make the same mistake twice, but let's try new things constantly to create an environment where curiosity and innovation are paramount. Because when curiosity and innovation are paramount, you make the breakthroughs.
And to close, what words of advice would you have for the athletic director or coach that maybe feels a little hopeless and they're putting a lot of time into this profession and the impact is just so far down the road that it's a little tough to see the forest through the trees?
You know, it's interesting. I grew up in a children's home in Taos, New Mexico with 85 kids. Some will call it an orphanage. A coach believes in someone when they don't believe in themselves. Maybe one kid. That one kid needs a coach more than you'd ever imagine. My greatest mentors are my coaches. They believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. They saw something in me I didn't see in myself. And those breakthroughs I had were because of them. And I'll tell you, that cannot get lost. And all this chaos, it cannot get lost because that one child may turn out to be something they never thought possible because of the belief of a coach.